Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode. If you haven't listened to any of the episodes before, my name is Monica Yates, and today we have a very special guest. My husband is back to do his second episode with me. We're doing a little Q&A on all things polarity, relationships, that kind of stuff. We've already done an episode on our wedding, and we went through all the questions you guys asked us about those 4 days and like our honeymoon and all of that, because it was all one big trip. So if you haven't listened to that already, you can go back and listen to that. Otherwise, we're going to dive in and give you guys some goodness and a bit of a taste of the value that he is able to also bring from his perspective when he is doing the Q&As with me live at my events. We are actually already working on planning the next event, which is very exciting. So of course, make sure you're on the wait list for my events if you aren't already, and that way you'll be notified when the next one comes out. But for the last few years, he's been doing Q&As with me at the events on day 3, and the ladies have found it to be so immensely valuable because it's just having that male perspective, and he's not like doing all this like men's work. He's not going to the retreats. He's not reading 300 books, a day. And so it just, for a lot of you've shared that it just feels a little bit more like tangible and relatable because you're in relationships with men where they're not doing like a bunch of men's retreats and la la la. So without further ado, let's jump into the episode with him. All right. Are you ready, babe?
Yeah.
Dive in?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to offer some value to the ladies?
Yes.
Okay. First question. When did you both know that you would marry each other?
Do you want to go first?
Sure. Ladies first.
Ladies first.
My biggest thing, I've thought about this before, is I never wondered whether we were going to get married. I never daydreamed or thought about, oh, I wonder if like he's the one. I wonder if we're going to get married. It was always inevitable for me. So I never really thought about, I wonder whether we're going to get married. I just kind of was, yeah. I remember when it occurred to me of like, I've never thought about, are we going to get married? Like that question. It was just
I would agree.
a fact.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say, I think we like knew, at least I knew after we had a pretty serious conversation early on, because I think we both lived very different lives.
I don't even remember that serious conversation.
Yeah, you do. With the drive
When
back
was it?
from Denver, you loved it.
Oh, yeah, that was after like our first date. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
Very
that's
early
right.
on.
Very early on.
And it was basically like I was slow. We were stuck in traffic. We were going to miss the flight.
Yes, that's right.
I didn't tell you that we were going to miss it because I didn't want you to stress, but I already knew what plan B was.
Yeah. You always have a plan B.
And I wanted to really have that time to just, it was fun. We were stuck in traffic. Shit happens. It's a lot funner when you're fresh, I would say. I'm trying to remember that now, actually.
I remember it. It was like a 4-hour drive.
No, I'm saying try to remember like if shit hits the fan, like it's okay because
yeah.
I don't think it's happened like that since.
No, it definitely hasn't.
Anyway.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Anyway, I would say that I asked some serious questions in terms of like, are you in this for the long haul? Like not us, but like a relationship.
Yeah.
And I think we were trying to figure out if we were going to be ski friends or if we were going to have a romantic relationship.
That's right.
And you lived in New York, I lived in Atlanta. We met magically. And so I think we had to establish that early on.
Yeah.
And I think from there, I think it was just, okay, well, we know what we want out of a relationship. And then we just kind of lived our life and built our relationship and it happened.
It just happened so naturally, like without even trying.
Naturally. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, we weren't even really trying. It just happened. Like we were trying and that we both wanted a relationship, but we weren't like moving around our whole schedules to be able to see each other.
And for others, I think that if you're questioning if that person is the one often, or if there are certain things about that person that you can't stand, and they don't know that you can't stand that. I want to say you're out of luck, but you need to get in front of those sooner than later, and people rarely tend to change. So
yeah, that was one of the questions actually of like, what were some of the things that you've had to like get over. But on that note, I think I know that it's very important, at least from the get-go. Like when you're in that honeymoon phase, if you guys aren't in the fucking honeymoon phase, if you are already finding all these things that you hate about him, like, you know what I mean? And you're like really questioning the relationship in the beginning. Yes, it could be coming from a trauma response, but also listen to that. Because of course it's natural when you like go through relationships and then you're going through a hard time to be like, oh my God, is he the one? But that's not coming from a grounded place. It's coming from the fact that you're feeling dysregulated and emotional. Do men really prefer younger women to older?
I think it depends on how old the man is. And I think that first of all, I always thought that I wanted an older woman and you are significantly younger.
Yes.
I think it is something that we think that we want, but at the end of the day, if your person's your person, age doesn't matter. That's why I'm not quick to judge like big age gaps or small age gaps, because people mature at different times, and I think it's more about the compatibility of and what level you're at in that maturity
and what you want in the relationship
and what you want. Yeah,
because if a 40-year-old guy is like, I only want to date a 25-year-old woman, but he wants children and she doesn't, like that's not going to work.
Yeah, I didn't want an older woman for like the children aspect. It was more, I always thought that I vibed more with older women and they understood me more.
Because you have a very old soul.
Yeah, and you're an old soul.
And I have an old soul, so we've vibed.
Yeah.
We very much vibed. Yes. Okay. Advice for a single 35-year-old who wants a hubby and babies.
Ooh, I have a lot of 35-year-old single friends. I would say to keep going at it. You keep trying to find that person. It'll happen. Don't give up. I mean, nowadays there's so many things that you can do. You know more about this than I do.
Yeah.
But like freezing your eggs.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know enough. I don't know really anything about that. I just know that there are things that older women,
like, I can feel it. She's like, no, but I want him now. How do I meet him?
Well, yeah, of course, that's what you want.
Yeah.
Of course, that's what you want. But you also, as from a man's perspective, maybe you should be taking the backup steps just in case.
Right.
But I know we're not available for just in case.
Yeah, we're not available for just in case.
But can't hurt. And you never know if the man that you find that you love
is in the waiting room of the egg freezing place.
Yeah, or if that's true. That's true, because he's probably thinking logically.
Right.
And you don't know if he has any issues with his, with his fertility, or
he's supporting his sister or something.
Yeah. So it can't hurt to have a backup plan, but I think that if you want you'll get it. You just gotta.
Well, yeah, you've got to keep the vision because you wanted it. You kept the vision. You were kind of giving up, and then you met me.
Yeah.
How old were you? Like, throw that story in. That helps a lot of women.
I was 32.
Yeah.
I think I was 31 turning 32, because it was in January. We met. My birthday's in January. So I was 31, about to be 32.
Okay.
And at that point, I was very single. I'd given up on the dating apps. I couldn't stand it. I thought it was a waste of time. I've had a lot of friends who have success stories with dating apps, by the way. But for me, it just wasn't. It wasn't in alignment. It wasn't for me.
Yeah.
So I had kind of given up on that. I'm a big skier, so I was working for an airline at the time, so I had free flights and just I traveled a bunch and said, you know what, when I find my person, it will be doing something I love. And that's what happened.
Yeah. So moral of the story, and I always say this to this kind of question, if you're a client, you would have heard me say this before. You're not going to meet him sitting at home doing fucking nothing. You need to open up the most amount of avenues possible to actually meet him. So get on the dating apps. Just, if you really hate it, then obviously get off it, because you got to be aware with the dating apps. Like for some people, the dating apps actually gives them a very contracted energy around dating, which then influences their dating experience. So you've got to be aware of like how the apps are actually energetically influencing you. But go to the places where you would find like-minded people, and not just like-minded men, because for all you know, your dream man is actually through the new friend that you make at the Pilates class, and it's her brother that you end up dating, or it's her best friend that you end up dating and marrying. So go and do the things that you enjoy, because at the end of the day, you don't want to find somebody that's the exact same as you, but you want to find somebody that has those similar interests that you want in a person. So I always knew, for example, it was a non-negotiable that I would be with a man that could ski, because I always wanted to be able to take my kids skiing. And like, don't vibe with a guy that like can't skate. Ew, in terms of like the masculine, feminine, like you got to look after the kids when they're going down the hill a million miles an hour. Like I don't want to be doing that alone and you're in the lobby of a hotel. Weird. So for me personally, so it wasn't that I was skiing to meet the guy. It was just more so like I was going places where, you know, like-minded people would be that would also align with the same values as me. So like being active, for example. And obviously I got lucky and met a guy that skied, but I was just doing what made me happy.
But on that note, I think right now, especially that, you know, we're years after COVID, people are yearning in-person connection more than ever. People are getting out there more and more. I think that it would behoove you to be putting yourself out there, going to those places because there are more people out than ever.
Yes.
People want that in-person connection.
Yes. And I'll quickly say one more thing on this as well. Before I met Hal, like I would go skiing all the time by myself and I would just make friends on share lists. Like I was that person and people love it because people are yearning for that in-person connection. I was that chick that would be like, hey, you skiing with anybody? No? Great. Do you want to ski together today? Like, do you want to be friends? And 9 out of 10 people, I've never had someone say no. That would just be weird. They would make an excuse maybe, but 9 out of 10 times, if somebody else is skiing alone and you're of the same, maybe not necessarily skiing, but other things too, and you're of the same kind of like level in terms of how good you are, then people are going to say yes. So go and do the things where like-minded people, new friends included, are going to be hanging out. Like that's what you want to be doing. When you first saw Monica, what were your thoughts about her and what she does as her job?
Well, I didn't know this world at all. I didn't know the world that you work in. I didn't know the industry like I do now. I would say that I thought it was, in your language, a cute look.
A cute look.
I thought but I didn't also like dive deep. Because I think I saw how many followers you had, and I'm not big on Instagram, and
yeah,
so
I knew your sister did, not you.
I knew influencers and I knew regular people, and I had thought that you were an influencer, and it was like, oh, you were just like kind of lolling all over the world with with Daddy's money.
That's right, Daddy's money.
I did think that I didn't give in the beginning a chance. Like I didn't listen. I
loved.
I just kind of skimmed the profile. I was like, oh, she's definitely an influencer.
Yeah.
Daddy's money.
And
why are you in Beaver Creek, Colorado?
Yeah. Daddy's money.
And during the work week. And yeah, so and you're 27. And
well, at that point I was 25 or something.
And I didn't know that. Yeah, we didn't talk about that. That wasn't important to us at the beginning.
Yeah. And I really appreciated that you didn't look me like go deep into it. Yeah. Your sister did, but not you, which I still love.
What was the second part of that question?
What were your thoughts about her and what she does as her job?
Okay, so then when you told me, or when we figured it out, I think you kind of slowly introduced.
I explained it to you in the car on the way to Beaver Creek because you basically were like, you were like, it's Daddy's money, like it's got to be, and I was like, what? And then I explained it to you.
Yeah.
That was what it was.
And what did I think about it? I thought it was like, I remember thinking like, holy shit, who is this woman? Like you're 25 and you've built this community and this beautiful business to where you can live and do the things that you want to do for yourself. It was more like, wow, how admirable. And the passion and your purpose, and it's rare. A lot of people don't have that at your age.
Yeah. Thanks, babe.
All right. Any age.
Yeah, any age. What are your favorite qualities about Monica? Be nice.
My favorite qualities of Monica Yates would be...
Well, I mean, still legally, I'm Yates, yes. To my dry cleaner, I'm
my wife. My favorite qualities of my wife would be... like, I just think as a person, not as like my lover necessarily, as a person, I would say your ambition, your drive, your confidence, for sure. Your confidence, which is... It didn't take me a while to get used to. It just took me a while to be like, wow, this is actually confidence. You have confidence. How you show up, follow through, just, a lot of those things that I wanted in a woman. I wanted to be grounded. You are quite emotional.
I'm very emotional.
Very emotional, but we're learning.
You've learned to love it.
We're learning to love. We're learning to love and embrace.
Yes.
And then I would say, as like my lover, I would say just how you love me for who I am, your acceptance, your like nurturing ability when you kind of natural at that.
Baby, I love you.
I love you too.
Aww. Okay. My favorite qualities about you, I'm going to share them, is your kindness. Like, you are such a kind person and you are so selfless. Like, I really am like, be a little bit more selfish. You definitely have been, which is good. Like, you've definitely embraced more of that, but you are so selfless, so kind. You are like, I could not ask
Keep
for
it coming. Keep it coming.
I could not ask for a better provider and protector. Like, you are such a masculine man. Like, in terms of just how you show up, how you put your foot down to me, how you like make decisions, how you lead, not just at home, but also the team. Like, could not do this without you. Now that I have you, and especially that I had you in the business, I'm like, oh, could never do this without you. Truly, truly, truly.
Thanks, sweetheart.
Yeah, sweetheart. Say that again.
Sweetheart.
Okay.
Sweet.
Yes. Okay. How to get back in touch with a partner who seems tapped out of a relationship due to life/work.
Quickly for me is communication. Like we have very, very good communication. I would say that you gotta you gotta ask questions. You gotta figure out a way to be able to figure it out. You have to help your person open up to you and to explain these things and to make him feel comfortable to be able to share those things. And if he's not, then you gotta ask yourself some hard questions.
Yeah. One of the biggest things is for a lot of people, they associate like, oh, if I'm, spending time with her, it has to be 3 hours. And one thing that we are really good at, and sometimes like I remind us, is just 10 minutes. Like, it's quality over quantity. We were really busy last week, for example. And before I went away for the weekend, it was just like 10 minutes of us time, just like full present us time, no phone, no TV, nothing else. And so it also can be for a lot of people, like if you're tapping out of the relationship or you're just kind of getting into the mundane, are you making like that intimacy quality time have to be like a 1 or 2 hour stint? Don't. It's the 2 minutes in the kitchen as you're making breakfast, right?
Well, it also depends on how often you see that person every day.
Right, of course.
Because
But
like,
it
we
is
live
about,
together.
yeah, but it is about quality over quantity and like those little acts of commitment that would make you feel like, okay, he's still in this relationship. He isn't fully tapped out. But do you know those little things that would make you really feel like, oh, okay, he's just going through a busy season, but he's still in this relationship?
Yeah, and I agree 100% with that. I would say I would like to challenge that a little bit. A lot of times, men in particular, because I remember feeling this sometimes with you, is that men can a little bit of time with like, is a little bit of time what this person who's asking this question is that enough for that person? Is that enough for her? Because she could want these little micro moments of love and affection that might not be enough for her.
Right.
So, but for the man, he could be like to your point, he could be
Yeah.
living what you're saying and be like, yeah, we
Yeah.
are like, this is like, so you kind of, so you
Yeah,
kind of
you gotta get into like, it's that give and take, but it's also the communication so that neither of you is constantly
you cannot have
compromising.
it all. You
No,
cannot have it.
no, but it's also, you don't want to feel like you're constantly compromising and then that builds resentment.
Correct.
So there's got to be like a middle ground where he's sacrificing a little bit and you're sacrificing a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But be honest with yourself about like, what is your definition of, okay, this is the affection I want. What does that look like
Yes.
for you? So
Right.
then you can be able to explain that to your partner.
Love that. All right. What are some ways that Monica lets you lead?
This is a good one.
This is a good one.
Well, we will just say it because everyone knows it. Monica's the breadwinner. And
I thought you were going to say something else.
What?
Nothing.
What?
I'll tell you afterwards.
Okay.
Nothing.
She's a breadwinner.
Because they'll know soon.
Oh,
but like
yeah,
not
yeah,
when
yeah,
this
I got
comes
you, I
out.
got you.
Yeah.
So let's just say though, you are the breadwinner.
Yes.
And I don't think it took me a while to get used to. We could probably dig into this in another episode, but
Yeah.
how my life changed dramatically in that whole transition process from my corporate job.
Did you guys hear this? Another episode?
From my corporate job to working for my, at the time, then girlfriend, and my girlfriend's business that she has built, and it's her baby. And wow, I got to keep this thing alive for her and then bring even more. And I think and just even in that sense, trusting me and at that moment. And I think now I really think, you let me lead by a lot of aspects in our relationship. Like what we're doing on the weekends, how we're socializing, booking all of the travel. I would like to actually take that out of the lead category. I think that's a co-lead category.
Yes.
But and then I think
Co-lead. I love
most
that.
importantly is I think this happens because we communicate so well, and but would be managing our finances, mine, yours, the company's, etc.
Yeah. You're just thinking, yeah, big
I was thinking
picture.
big picture.
Yeah, big picture. Right. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, big picture.
But even there's little things like
okay,
you drive the car.
always
Like,
drive.
yeah,
Always
like
drive.
you, if I'm being indecisive, you make the decision. I don't push you around.
No, you do not push me around. You
Yeah.
don't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
You
call me out when I'm being a shithead.
Yeah, but I will say sometimes it's hard to let me call you out, but
Yes.
I figure it out.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, and just with decisions for us in general,
Yeah.
you rely on me to at least kind of, or if you can't wait for me to get to it because I'm a little bit slower with those things, you'll like put it in the calendar or something, and then you'll want a discussion about it, and you'll want me to make the decision.
Yes. For all the ladies listening to this episode, if you make money, whether you make the same amount that your man makes or that the average guy makes that you're dating, or whether you make more money, if you find yourself sometimes feeling like money gets in the way of your sex life or gets in the way of you being in your feminine, him being in your masculine, do yourself the favor and get the feminine female breadwinner. Whether you're in a relationship or dating, I do not want you to end up feeling like money affects the kind of man that you're with and affects his ability to show up in leadership and in that masculine energy. And I don't want you feeling like you immediately kind of default into your masculine because of money or build resentment because you're making more money than him or even just making the same amount of money as him. I'm telling you right now, without going too deep into the details, but I have podcast episodes on it. If you don't already know this, you'll find out soon enough. Money is the number one reason for divorce. And it is a massive problem in relationships these days, especially because more and more women are making money, which is amazing. So let's not have it then subconsciously block us all from making more money as women because we don't want it to affect our sex lives. We all want hot sex and we all want big bank accounts. So do yourself the favor, the feminine female breadwinner, and thank me later. Okay, what about this one? Was there ever a time that you weren't sure about each other and how did you get over that?
You go first.
You're waiting to see whether I say yes?
No, I'm actually not.
Okay.
I'm still thinking.
Okay. No, there was no time, like intuitively, that I was not sure
What
about
other time is there?
you.
Intuitively.
Well, because when you're in the midst of like a big season change or, you know, if you're having a fight with your person, then of course your ego is like, are they my person? But it's like never. Well, that's what happens for me, but that's just my head talking. I am able to distinguish the difference between that, right? And like sometimes that's where people can then really go into like that nervous system dysregulation of just like leaving, slamming the door. Like that's where it's like there's just no groundedness because it's not coming from a grounded place. Those thoughts, like in my opinion and in my experience, are very normal because the difference is it's like I know they're just like those negative thoughts that of course come in during those moments, but I know you are my person and I'm just being challenged. And it's like my stubbornness is like, I don't want to be fucking challenged. I know without a shadow of a doubt that you're my person. And I will say the healthier the relationship, the more triggering the relationship because you call each other out. You don't let each other get away with their bullshit. You know what I mean? Like healthy relationships are challenging because you are wanting your other person to be their best self. So you're calling them out and you're being called out.
I think that it comes down to if you want your partner to share everything, like, you know, what you hear is like is a definition of a good relationship. You know, you're being able to say whatever you want to say. I think that a lot of people can, man or woman, can say that they accept that person fully and, you know, everything about them. But then when they come down to saying something that triggers them, it makes them feel like not shamed, but like it makes, you know, I feel like I've had that before in relationships to where, but do you really accept all of me? Kind of feeling. Like, does that make sense?
And wait, so how does that relate to like, was there ever a time you weren't sure about each other?
And how? What you said.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. Yes.
But on that note,
because everybody wants to feel fully accepted. Yeah, and
well, I'm not going to be with someone who doesn't fully.
Right.
Yeah.
But you could have those thoughts sometimes, like I was just explaining, in my opinion. And this also is like a very woman thing. Like it's like so many of my clients that I'm like, we get so wrapped up in our emotions where we just go from one extreme to the other. And then it's like, oh my God, is he my person? And we also get wrapped up in this idea of like what our person should look like, especially in like the personal development community. We get so wrapped up in this idea of like perfection that we actually have to come back down and realize like our person isn't perfect.
Well, I think like women do the list. Like I think you've done that. I've heard.
Oh yeah, I've done. I had a list before I met you, baby. You ticked all the boxes on the
guys
list.
do not.
It's called manifesting.
Well, whatever it is, it's whatever you want to call it. It's guys don't do that.
Right.
Yeah. There's no like check box.
Right.
Like, oh, she has this, not this, not no, none of that.
Yeah.
I think it's more of like a,
Yes.
And then
men are so like that. Like men always know before women most of the time.
Yeah. I could definitely see that being
in every experience, in every couple that I know, the man has known before the woman. Isn't that crazy? Like you knew before me.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so wait, but was there ever a time you weren't sure about me?
No, there never was a time where I wasn't sure. There might have been a time where I was like, I'm not sure how to integrate you into my very, very different, grounded life here in America. When I first met you, I'm a big traveler, like in my family and my group of friends. I'm the one that travels, so we relate on that.
Yeah.
But you were taking it to another level, and just being you being you made me question how I was going to integrate you with my friends and family.
Love it. All right. So wait, on that note, this is perfect for the like list question. Are you each other's quote unquote normal type physically speaking? Was the physical attraction immediate?
Well, I've always said you want to go first?
You can go first.
Okay,
I know your answer.
You know my answer.
Yeah, we've talked about this before.
I always thought I was into brunettes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Like you love when my hair's darker. And then when I come back from the hairdresser, when I get it like a bit lighter, you're like, oh my God, it's so light, babe. I like it when it's darker. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not a brunette.
Well, my first serious girlfriend and my only other like serious girlfriend before you, my only one, was brunette.
Yes.
And I don't know, I just always had this vision that the person I was going to marry was brunette. But again, didn't think too hard into that. After that relationship, I remember that the women that I dated after all were blonde. And then I remember being like, oh, that's just because it's a phase. I'll end up with a brunette. I remember thinking that, but then I ended up with the blondes. Yeah. Well, I'm kind of a little bit in between. So you are in between. Yeah. So it's not like I'm like bleach blonde or anything. You wouldn't like that. I just think I was probably more bland back then, so I assumed I was going to. Now you're extra, baby. Now you're extra. I feel like brunettes are more bland than just like. Babe, I love that. Generally speaking. You got an extra. Yeah, you're extra. Yeah, sometimes, rubbing up on you. Okay. So the physical attraction. Well, we met with full ski gear. So that was hard. Yeah, that was hard. But we both went to the bathroom at the same time when we had a break. We both took our helmets off, so we were able to look at each other and be like, oh, you're not ugly, basically. The physical attraction, I mean, I feel like that eased in. That wasn't like, it wasn't like, oh, I need to fuck you right now. Yeah, no, it wasn't like that. It wasn't this like hot, heavy, oh my God, from the get-go. It was more energetic. Yeah. Like so energetic. And and like we really were like just blowing each other's panties off from like conversation and how similar we were. Yeah. And like the polarity aspect. Yeah. And how safe you made me feel. Yeah. Oh, but in terms of, are you my normal type? You're my normal type in that I always wanted to be with a brunette. I had like brown hair. I always wanted a guy that like had really good facial hair and that would wear his facial hair. That's why you never shave, because you're not allowed to. And I always wanted a guy that was tall and well built. So I got all of that and like very ambitious. Not well built. I'm getting well built. Yeah, you're very much getting well built. But I was not when you met me. No, I wasn't no, you were not when I met you, but I loved you anyway. I fell in love with you anyway. Okay, I love you, baby. I love you. I love you. Okay, and then I also always needed a guy that was very ambitious and obviously like super masculine, and you tick all those boxes. And a skier. Well, that's not physical, but you know. What does it feel like being an employee of Monica's company, and how does it affect feeling like a leader? I would like to think I'm more of a partner. Yes. I think I've earned that. Yes, you have earned that, babe. Do you think I've earned that? Yeah, 100%. That's why I said that. Okay. 100%. I couldn't do this without you anymore.
Now that I know what it feels like to have you working for me and that like safety and support and how much
Well, again,
you
if we're
take off my
hold on. If
shoulders.
we're doing partner working with me, so
Oh, I said 4.
yeah,
Okay, working with me. Yeah, you take so much off my plate and you just like everything that I get stressed about, you're like, give the stress to me, give the stress to me.
yeah.
And especially
Well,
when we're running
first
events,
of all,
you
I do
like are
want to
so
say
good.
that because I just corrected you saying with. I never have made anything about the dynamic of it. Like, oh, you're my boss. Like we would joke about it,
Oh
like
yeah, we
friends
joke
and
about
stuff.
it.
But, like we never, ever, ever, like you never made me. I mean, you said it before,
Yeah.
like
Earlier on when you were building the trust.
well, that and when we had like professional arguments.
Yeah.
You would say it.
Yeah, you're right.
But like never at an inappropriate time or like
I would never use it against you in our relationship, our romantic relationship.
I would say that 99.9%, but there had been like
Yes.
1 or 2 times.
I remember at the beginning it being really challenging, but that was because it was, I mean, it was such a
Yeah.
learning thing.
Yeah.
We learned a lot from working together,
Yeah.
and now it's like smooth, but it was
Yeah.
challenging in the beginning.
Yeah.
But like it pushed
Do
us, it
people
grew
know?
our relationship.
I was in corporate.
Yeah, people know you worked at Delta, you're in
left,
corporate.
yeah. Well, I feel like feels great because we're building this empire together that you have started and you have built, but we're just taking it to new places as a married couple.
Yes.
So many different ideas we have ahead and just great things ahead. It's going to be
2025 is going to be a fucking year.
Yeah, it is going to be a good
Oh
year.
my God, I'm so excited for next year.
But I think it feels great. I think the dynamic's great. Our employees, contractors, they love it. There's never ever been a time where we've only had positive feedback, and I feel like that's how I feel. Like I feel like it's been. Of course, it was challenging with our relationship, but we just communicated through it, and
we were patient also with the growth.
Yeah,
growing pains.
Yeah. So, how does it affect my leadership? I think it probably makes me more of a leader because being an entrepreneur is difficult, and the role that I have within the company is very much a leadership role. I'm between the people who work with us, even though they technically report to you, they often come to me.
That's been happening more and more. If they go to Hal before they go to me.
Yeah.
Which has been really, really nice. And the team always just says how much they love having you on the team. For like that grounded man energy.
There's certain things that like I will always be the one to. Like, Like anything that, and they know that.
Yes, they know when to 100% come to you.
Yeah.
But they've been more and more, I feel like they're now also going to you because you now know everything. Whereas obviously you were still learning for a while. You weren't just learning the job, you're also learning the industry.
Well, no, I was learning how fucked up you made things, and like in the back end. Like
things weren't that fucked up. They were just fucked up compared to like a corporate environment.
Compared to a corporate environment. Yeah, they weren't fucked up, but they were messy. Things were, I mean, which rightfully so. It's going to be. You took off.
That was one of the best things that you did when Hal started working for me, like at this point, 2.5 years ago, probably. That's when we started going balls to the wall with automation, systems, like processes.
Well, that's when I knew I needed to leave my job. Was because like you were attempting these things at very just not bigger picture, but just like fixing plugs instead of trying to get ahead of it. So but
and that's when we then like transferred everything to like ClickUp for project management. We started using Notion, and we just had we have like the best back end now. And that is definitely thanks to you because you knew how to do it. Like that wasn't how my brain works. Now I'm obsessed with the back end of our business and how organized it is.
To communicate before me with like without Slack, text?
Yeah, like WhatsApp and text.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It can be really overwhelming, like starting that software and like not even knowing where to start, which is why it's so beneficial to have someone come set it up the way that you want it to be set up and give you those like one-on-one intro trainings. That's also why though I'm so big on like people getting support when it comes to automations and systems because they can be really overwhelming. And so when you have somebody that actually builds it out the way that you need it, it makes it just a lot easier to integrate. Yeah. And so like you knowing that
starting
stuff,
small.
Knowing all that stuff was such a big thing. Okay. How to manage expectations of families across countries/cultures. So one thing that I did not really realize until I really moved down to Atlanta. So it's more of like an American Southern culture because New York is so multicultural and so international that you don't really get a sense of like an American culture per se, right? which is beautiful. I love that it's so international, but it also meant that I wasn't actually aware that we had cultural differences. Obviously, it's not like a cultural difference between, an Asian culture and then an American culture. That's going to be a much bigger cultural difference between American and Australian. But there was actually a lot of cultural differences, like not to the point of like
I would say like
extremes,
a
but
southern, I would say you would have more cultural differences with someone from the West or the
yes.
North. I
Oh,
think
not the South.
I think the South, you're at least from at least my opinion on it, and my feeling on it is that you relate more to people in the South, and same with your family. That Southern
Yeah.
hospitality, that
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
openness, like your
Yeah.
family's like that. Our families are very, very similar.
Yes.
I think the cultural norms that Americans, Australians have are already there. I think they would be more with if you were
Okay.
with someone from.
Okay. Well, like the biggest ones that I noticed obviously was the difference in just like quality of food and kind of like what people are brought up with. That there's still unhealthy food in Australia. Like, don't be mistaken about that. But that was a big one.
That's everywhere in America, though.
Yeah. But like little language things, like that was one that we didn't understand. Little things like even
But like y'all, everyone knows y'all. The world knows y'all.
but like even things like you guys do Thanksgiving and that means a lot to you. Or like I don't care about Thanksgiving, but it's like I have to start to care about Thanksgiving because that's now like
That's
that's
an
a part
American
of
holiday.
yeah, and that's a part of your thing. And then like it's just different, like the way that we celebrate like Christmas is different. And that's going to happen with any two families probably coming together, depending on like the background of the family as well.
I think each person in the relationship needs to know what values are important to them, their family, and combined. Because some of the things that my parents value, like I don't value, but like it's good for you to know what they value because out of respect, you should respect your elders. That's how I grew up.
Yeah, respect your elders.
But like
no, I was saying that because it was like rammed into my head when I was little.
Yeah,
Yes,
same here.
yes,
That's what I'm saying. Southern American.
Yeah,
That's a Southern American thing more than a Northern American thing.
Right. I see. Okay.
So yeah, I think first establishing like what are like your family and my family's norms, what are and of those norms, what do you appreciate? What do you want to bring on to your family? What do you not want to bring on to your family?
I like that.
So it's figuring that out and then approaching it with each and then introducing families, obviously.
Yeah.
But having a grounded understanding of what you guys are going to stand for.
And
today.
The biggest thing that I've discovered with clients that have had kind of like, micro trauma, if you will, around different cultures, whether they're dating somebody from a different culture or whatnot, is not feeling respected. And like that was something that I've had to obviously learn for your culture and your upbringing, not even just culture, but also upbringing, right? And your family's norms. And then you're doing the same for me of like respect. Even if you don't fully understand it, even if you're like, this is kind of fucking weird, you need to respect your partner's culture or like family's values, etc., the way they were brought up, depending on like how much of a cultural difference there is. And your family has been like amazing at that. For example, when we did our first Christmas here, they respected that we do Christmas lunch, not dinner. And so you guys then altered. You didn't do Christmas dinner. You all came for Christmas lunch. You knew that I wanted to cook Christmas lunch so badly because I just love doing that. And so you really respected
well, we blended it. We still had the breakfast too because we do breakfast.
That's right. Yeah. We blended. Exactly. We blended it. We made a compromise.
Yeah. And like, I'm lucky in that my parents have always been like that. They've always been like, accept anyone for who they are. I would say probably more than what you were taught, like to, and you like give me shit for it sometimes, but like the selflessness and like putting others first and like caring about like, but like,
I was taught that. I'm just Enneagram 8, so I'm just like good at my boundaries.
Yeah, but I am grateful for that because I didn't even have to go to my mom or my father and say, hey, can we do Monica's way of Christmas? They already knew. My mom already knew.
Yes.
A lot of people aren't like that.
Right.
So again, that like we don't have to really communicate it with our families because we're lucky they blend very, very well. But I know that not everyone has that.
The last thing I'll say on this is it's so important that you're, of course, not judging anything about you, your culture, your behavior from like cultural background, like stuff like that kind of thing. Because obviously, if you're judging that, it will then feel like other people, like you're then projecting that judgment and you're going to feel like other people are judging you. And maybe they are judging you, but it's going to feel a lot worse if you're also judging that part of yourself. So like the swearing, for example, Australians swear. It's a known fucking thing. We all swear, we do it. And
not so as much as I had thought initially.
Oh, thanks. Okay. Well, anyway, like we swear a lot. And when I first met you, and I remember this with your family, it's like, oh wow, like she swears, but your family, like, never, like, again, it's the acceptance, right? Even if you don't get it, even if you don't agree with it, can you respect it?
Well, we always go back and forth on that swearing, but like I think of it as a sign of, because like even like Brits, they don't do that, and
Brits swear.
not again. We've always talked about this time and place.
Oh, they're a lot, they know
I
when
don't
to be
think
very polite. Yes, yes,
Australian.
yes.
I think you're generalizing Australians, and yeah, they swear more, but I
Yeah.
think not everyone in Australia swears like you.
No, of course not.
Like you will be at a formal dinner and not pick up on a cue that I think you should pick up on me. Like there's a time and a place, but I know, you know, it might be part of your brand, whatever you want to call it.
Might be part of your brand. Okay,
Whatever you
babe.
want to call
At
it.
Thanksgiving dinner.
Well, I would argue that like not all Australians would swear at a
Yes,
formal
you're right.
Thanksgiving dinner. They
Yes.
would know a time and a place.
Yes.
So
I'm making a generalization.
yeah.
I'm using it as an example because that was something that it's like,
No,
I remember when we would
yeah.
start dating, you'd be like, babe, like, don't swear so much. And it's like, and I had to really, like, that was something that, you know, you had to accept about me, and I had to make sure that I
But you
didn't
do swear
change
less. You do swear less.
I do swear less. Like I really have had to do it with my book because I don't want to be like swearing on national television. Like, not a vibe.
That's where my whole argument is. There's a
Yeah.
time and place.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's acceptance and not making your partner feel like they have to change because you're different and you don't understand it. For those of you that want to spice up your love life, if you have not listened or watched, you could listen or you could watch it, to my free masterclass on how to have him lead you. You are missing out and you want to grab that right now. This masterclass is basically guiding you on how to step out of that mothering and fully embrace being his lover. It's 1 hour with me, and it's really going to help you to figure out why he's not leading, and then what you can do what you could do to support him in stepping into his masculine leadership and claiming you and being that protector that you're really craving him to be. So you can register at the link below in the podcast notes. And this is for you if you are dating or in a relationship and you're wanting to feel wanted by him. You do not want to be nagging him anymore. You want to feel protected and provided for. You want to feel that soul nourishing juiciness that comes from a man that is just claiming you, leading you, and having all of that masculine energy. Like if you want to be told, I'm picking you up at 8 p.m. or this is what we're doing, or like get into bed right now, I need to ravish you or take your clothes off. This masterclass is absolutely what you need. And what I'm going to break down for you guys in the masterclass is the difference between men and women and the differences that we need to pay attention to. I'm also going to walk you through the 4 possible causes as to why he's not leading you. And then of course, what you need to do. I'm going to go through the difference between the lover and the mother archetypes. I'm going to walk you through what the feminine actually wants and how to get her needs met, your needs met, if you're a woman listening to this, and then the 3 steps to get him to lead you for good. So if you want the masterclass, click the link below and you can register for free. Let me know your thoughts on it. I've been really, really enjoying doing these masterclasses for you guys. It's a little bit of like a different way to deliver some of this juicy content and having that visual aspect as well. And like a vibey backdrop. You guys know I'm like a sucker for a vibe. So yeah, link is below and let's jump back into the episode. What are you most excited about in Parenthood?
Some structure.
Okay.
We don't have. I mean, we are very fortunate in being able to kind of do whatever, be wherever, work wherever. That won't be the case, at least initially, when we have a kid, whenever that is. But that would be it. Yeah, structure.
Yeah.
Because then it will force us to. We like not having structure, but at the same time, I think it'll be good.
Yeah. I'm most excited for the challenge and for like the cute outfits and the little shoes. And
I'm glad that's yours.
yeah.
You then don't need my help with picking anything else.
And I'm most excited about just like the love, like to be able to, like, I am so
you're
in
excited.
love with you, and to think that like I am so in love with you that it hurts me. I can only imagine that I will literally be heartbroken 24/7 for the rest of my life because I will love our children that much. And it's just like, how do you, like, you can't even comprehend it. I'm excited for that. I'm excited for all the adventures with our kids. And like, just all of the memories that are going to be made. Because like it gets fucking boring when it's just the two of you after a while. Like you travel everywhere, you do everything. Okay, fun, great, it's relaxing. But like, let's go do some fun shit. You get to relive your childhood. Like that's the best bit. You get to literally relive your childhood, but with so much more appreciation.
With all of this comes a major change to your business.
I mean, yeah, major,
Yeah,
but it's
in a
still,
good way.
but like,
Growth.
yeah, not in a way of like, I'm not running my business anymore or that like.
No, you just have to be much more selective with when you
Correct.
are showing, like when and how and
like my time isn't my own, so I
Yeah.
can't take as many clients and stuff.
yeah.
That would be the,
And you'll have probably more in-person events, but
yeah,
less live containers, probably just, Queen Alchemy.
yeah, agreed. All right, cool. What are his favorite things you cook?
My favorite things that you cook?
Yeah.
Uh,
There wouldn't be any of my
lamb
favorite things that
bowls,
you cook.
lamb bowl, like big meat bowls with vegetables,
Big lamb bowls.
with guac.
Yes. All I do for the lamb bowls, because someone's going to ask, roasted veggies with spices all over them, lots of olive oil. And then I cook a bunch of lamb mince or beef mince. Of course, grass-fed, grass-finished, all the things. Lambs, you can't actually grain feed lamb. So lamb's a good one. So lamb, spices in the lamb. I'm good to go now. Spices in the lamb and guac or hummus, some herbs. And that's the lamb bowl. So easy.
It's good.
Yeah, you love that.
I do.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Well, that is the end of the Q&A with Hal. I can't believe we've done 2 episodes now with him. If you want more episodes with him, you know what you need to do. Number 1, you need to leave a review telling us how much you loved this episode and the wedding episode, because we read the reviews, and that's also going to help other people to find the episode. And then number 2 is you need to send a DM to me on Instagram or comment on like one of the trailers for this episode on my Instagram and say that you would like more episodes with Hal, because it's a little bit like pulling blood from a stone to get this done. But once we're in it, he enjoys it. And I do really feel like, and he feels like this too, that he brings value to you guys in the sense that, like I said in the intro, he's not this guy that like does all this personal development and like a super woo woo or all into like the masculine and feminine and whatnot. And so his advice feels more tangible for you guys, because when I've had past men involved in my business, like in Q&As, or they'd come to the event and do a Q&A or something, one of the things that women would ask is like, it's all well, like, on a panel, they would say, it's all well and good for you to say this as the advice, but my man is never going to do that. Or like that, like you're saying this from the perspective of this like man that's done all this work on himself that like goes to retreats, blah, blah, blah. And so it can just feel like the advice that people give for relationships, it can feel so far removed from that for them, like for these women listening, for you guys listening, because it's just like, oh, my man won't do that. So then it just kind of makes you feel like you've got this man that like won't do work on himself, quote unquote, when, as I tell you guys all the time, the beautiful thing about the work that I do and how I do relationship work is very purposeful, in that you do not need your man to be doing this with you. Yeah, if he's doing work on himself, like amazing. Like that's obviously the ideal situation. But if he's not, you can still like have growth in your relationship and change and healing and more regulation in your relationship just from you. In these situations, when it comes to like relationship healing and changing the way that you communicate, having him show up, having him lead, you feeling safer in the relationship, him not getting so defensive, that can change from just you doing the work, from just you showing up differently in the relationship. With all that being said, I hope that you guys loved the episode. We have so many more juicy ones coming. We also have a new masterclass that I'm going to be doing, which is all about creating your dream life and the top pillars that you need to be absolutely locked into in order to really like get every single piece of the pie, to have that whole pie, which then makes manifestation super easy, and creating your dream life to just be like the easiest thing in the world, where your words just become your spells. So once we have that, we'll let you guys know. As usual, just make sure that you signed up to my email list, because then you'll get everything there. We are always sending out the best emails. You guys post them on your Instagram stories, you reply to them. People love my emails. If you haven't signed up, you're definitely missing out. They're always full of value, or they're really funny, or they're both. And I'll see you guys in the next episode.